of non-believers. And it was just an atmosphere where we didn't really talk about religion except for my brother. He did not like Christians. So I kind of grew up in a household in high school where my brother was talking about how Christians were judgmental and they were mean, and I always just kind of grew up believing that, especially in high school. I lived with my mom. She was a single mother, and we didn't have a lot of money. Well, my parents got a divorce when I was 13, and that was why I lived with my mom. My parents got a divorce mostly because they were both alcoholics at the time, and my dad is still an alcoholic, and they would drink every night, and I remember growing up thinking that that was normal. And that caused a lot of the instability and just a lot of the problems in my life growing up. So my life wasn't very stable. We ended up moving a lot into my grandmother's house, and then moving into an apartment, and then ending up losing our house. And so a couple weeks before I moved to college, we got an eviction notice, and I actually had to pack up my house and leave. And I remember going to college feeling like I didn't have a home or just something secure in my life. Just feeling very like, I don't know, without like a base in my life to go from. So I went to college and I ended up moving in with a Christian girl. And I really liked her, but I wasn't a Christian. I remember I just believed that people should just do their own thing. I was into partying. I would go to Mexico. And I remember she would always ask me to go to a Bible study that she went to, and I would always say, no thanks. And she would always invite me to the crew meetings every week, and I would say, that's okay, like I'm gonna do other stuff, and kind of make an excuse. But during that semester, I remember we talked about issues with Christianity, because at that time I didn't like Christians, and I feel like they were really closed-minded, and I was all about being open-minded. And then it kind of just occurred to me that I wasn't being very open-minded. I kept partying and doing all the regular stuff in college that kids do, and kind of just looking for somewhere to belong, you know, the usual. And eventually she wore me down. I ended up going to her Bible study, and I didn't know what to do, because I would just be sitting there, or maybe praying around me, and I'd just be like, cool, like just staring at my thumbs, like wondering like what the heck are they talking about, but interested. And I remember just kind of being interested in being like, well, if I'm going to claim to be open-minded, then maybe I can hear what these people are talking about. So I started going to church and also to the crew meetings, and I remember staying there watching people worship and thinking, do I have to hold my hands up? And I think I just got to the point where I was meeting with somebody and talking about God on a weekly basis, and just telling her my story, and just about the hard things that happened in my life. Just about the fact that my family is not very stable, and that my father has just not been a very good father figure in my life. And so just telling her these things, and for the first time just kind of just feeling like I knew what the truth was. Just like feeling like there was a tugging, like I couldn't explain it. I'm just thinking like, I want to believe in God, and they keep talking about like giving your life to Him, to Christ, and I just didn't know what that meant, and I was kind of like scared, because I was like, that's okay, like I want to believe in God, but I'm kind of afraid to make that huge decision. So I remember I was in my dorm room, and my roommate was gone. It was like 2 in the morning, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was just sitting there just thinking, man, my life is insane, just thinking about the fact that I didn't have a home, and just thinking about the idea of God and the fact that He would forgive me for everything that had happened in my life, all the mistakes that I had made. And I remember just praying in my bed that night, and just accepting Christ, and just thinking, okay, like, I don't know what this means, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but just praying. And I remember I called one of my really good friends, and I told her, and she started crying, and just got really, really excited. And I think I understood kind of the impact of what had just happened, but I don't think I understood quite then. My name is Sheri. I'm a graduate student at NMSU in Marriage and Family Therapy, and I am from Farmington, New Mexico. What?